Hi everyone, this is Robin, and we are going to go over the syllabus for OLP 3331, Theories and Models of Leadership. And we're just going to go page by page. So let's start at the top. So first of all, you'll see some contact information for me, my name, my office in Garrison Hall, my email, which remember is the very best way to reach me, and my office number. We also have the name of our graduate teaching assistant, Julia Barrett, and her email address. And then a third person that you can get a hold of if you need to is our program assistant, Krista, and I have her email and her phone number here as well. Over on the right side of the screen here, I have a few other ways that you can connect with me. You're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. And then I also have listed my personal Twitter account and then another Twitter account I have, which is for the Leadership Book Club podcast. Now, we talked in the week 1 video that there are a few ways to get a hold of me, email being the very best one, but another great way to get a hold of me is through my office hours. So I will be having virtual office hours Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 1 Mountain Time. Why 12 to 1? Because for a lot of people, that's lunchtime. So that might be a good time for you to drop in. So here's how office hours work. I log in and just sit there and hope that someone drops in and asks me a question or comes to say hi and talk to me. So it's just like regular face-to-face office hours where a professor would sit in her office and just wait for someone to show up. I'm doing the same thing, only I'm just doing it on video conference. Now, there's several ways that you can connect in to virtual office hours. The first one is with your computer. So you see right here is the link. You just click on that and it will take you into the video conference. Now, let's say that you are at work or at home and you're on a computer where you have a webcam and then, of course, I have a webcam. So what that means is that I can see you because you have a webcam. You can see me because I have a webcam. And we both have the option of sharing information that's on our computer and having the other person or the other people see it. So for example, we might share a paper, we might share websites, we might share assignments, who knows, we could share all kinds of things from our computer. Now, another way that you might connect is maybe you're on a computer that does not have a webcam. So you don't have a webcam, I do have a webcam. What that means is that I won't be able to see you, but you will still be able to see me and you'll be able to see anything that I share from my computer. So it's still a pretty good deal. The other way that you can connect down here is there's actually a phone number also associated with my Zoom room. And so if you dial in by phone, obviously you can't see me, I can't see you, and you can't see anything that I'm sharing because it's just a phone call. So it's better than nothing, but it's not as good as if it's possible for you to connect through your computer. Now, a final way that you can connect is through your mobile device, your phone or your tablet. So I've had several people in the past who, for whatever reasons, are not allowed to use their work computer to do schoolwork. And so what they've done at lunchtime is they've just hopped outside or into the stairwell or their car and used their cell phone to dial in. And again, there's a camera on your cell phone, so I can see you, you can see me, and you can see everything that I'm sharing. The one catch is if you are using a mobile device, you cannot just use this link in your browser. You need to download the Zoom app, which is free. It's no big deal. And then you use this meeting number. So it's still pretty simple. Now, if office hours don't work for you, if you have something that's going to take longer to talk to me about than the hour of virtual office hours, you are welcome to make an individual appointment with me. So if you want an appointment, go ahead and send me an email. Let me know roughly when you are available. So you might say you're available in the mornings or lunch, but not Thursdays, just to give me an idea so that I can then send you some dates and times that I'm available so you can see if it works with your schedule, and then we'll go ahead and meet. And when we meet, we can meet face-to-face if you're in Pocatello, or if I happen to be someplace where you are. We can meet by Zoom video conference, which is my preference, or we can also meet by phone. All right, moving on. We do have a required text for this class. It's Introduction to Leadership, Concepts and Practice by Northouse. All right, let's move to the next page. So the course description, you can see that this course examines both classic and contemporary theories and models of leadership. And so in this class, you're going to analyze the concepts, the strengths, and the weaknesses of these leadership theories. And this isn't in the text right now, but you're going to be looking at and discussing these leadership theories within each leadership theory and then across multiple leadership theories so that you can compare and contrast them. And then I have here one of my favorite quotes by Kurt Lewin, which is, "There's nothing more practical than a good theory." I know that some people like application and practice more. Some people like theory more. This is a theory class. We're going to have a little bit of practice and application in here, but it's basically a theory class. And theory is critical because it not only tells us what to do, but it tells us why it makes sense. All right, in terms of objectives, objective number 1, you're going to create a working definition and a philosophy of leadership. Your last assignment in this class at the end of the semester is to write a paper where you both discuss theories of leadership and you discuss your philosophy of leadership, which hopefully is going to be different at the end of the class than it was at the beginning of the class because you've learned a lot more about leadership. There's also a bonus assignment with that leadership philosophy paper, and you have the option of earning extra bonus points by recording a video of yourself sharing your philosophy. And the reason that we are making that a bonus assignment is because I want you to have practice saying what your leadership philosophy is, so that when you are job hunting or when your leader comes to you and says, "Hey, you're taking classes at ISU, what's your philosophy of leadership?" You're ready, you've practiced it. All right, number 2, you're going to be able to describe core theories of leadership and their strengths and weaknesses. Number 3, you're going to analyze case studies and real-life leadership situations to show connections with leadership theory and how those theories can be used in practice. Number 4, you're going to identify and summarize some contemporary leadership articles and then connect them with the relevant leadership theories. Number 5, you're going to develop and improve your critical thinking, your reflection, your writing, and your communication skills. And then finally, number 6, you are going to actively engage with your classmates in activities and discussions in the online environment. All right, let's keep going. So now we're getting to the good stuff. Here's the course requirements. So you can see here in this column what the assignments are for this week. So the first assignment goes throughout the semester, and it's participation in weekly discussion forums. I've said this before, I think, but let me say it again. Discussions are critical to this class. If this was a face-to-face class, we'd do the readings, we'd come in face-to-face, and we would discuss them so that we could clarify areas in which we are unclear, so that we could broaden and deepen our understanding of the material. But we're not in a face-to-face class. So what we do is we read the materials and then we come together online in the discussion forums in order to have that same type of discussion where we can both clarify and then deepen and broaden our understanding of the material. So participation in the weekly discussion forums are worth 3 points a week. And remember, in the discussion forums, you're going to make your initial post by the end of the day Wednesday, and then you're going to respond most weeks to a minimum of 2 of your classmates by the end of the week on Sunday. So 3 points times 14 weeks is worth 42 points. And if you look across, you can see that that's about 22% of your grade. Now the next thing is you're also going to participate in weekly assignments. So you heard when we were going through the objectives that we've got some case studies that we're going to do. We have some other types of assignments that we're going to do this week. If you've listened to the last week, this week video, you know that one of the things you're going to do this week for a weekly assignment is to find a meaningful or inspirational leadership quote. So some of the activities are going to be a little smaller, some of them might take a little bit more time, but those weekly activities are a way to apply what it is that you've been reading about that week. Those are also worth 3 points a week times 14 weeks for 42 points. Now, you're also going to have some quizzes and exams. This week you have a 3-point quiz on the course information. And then you also are going to have a midterm in this class. So the course information quiz is worth 3 points. The midterm is worth 30 points. And then you have 2 papers in this class. One paper is going to be a leader interview. So this is actually a 3-part assignment. Part 1 is you're going to plan for the interview that you're going to have with a leader that you have decided will be useful to interview. Second, you're going to interview that leader. And then third, you're going to write a paper based on that leadership interview. And that's going to be worth 30 points. And then finally, your last paper is going to be your final paper where you're going to be discussing leadership theories as well as your own leadership philosophy, and that's worth 40 points. So this class has a total of 187 points. But I do want to draw your attention to the percentages. So if you look at weekly discussions and weekly assignments, that comes up to 44% of your grade. That's almost half of your grade, which is my way of saying if you don't actively participate in the discussion forums, you will not do well in this class. I know some people love the discussion forums, some people love them a little bit less, but they are a critical part of this class. So down below, you also see what the percentages are for the various letter grades in this class. All right, let's go to the next page. Here are some important semester dates. You can read those on your own, but I do want to draw your attention to 2 dates. The first one is August 30th, which is the last day to drop full semester classes. So as you are kind of organizing your class schedule for this semester and thinking about which classes you're going to keep, and maybe you have some classes that you're not going to keep, you want to make sure that you drop those by August 30th, which is coming up fast. The other thing that is coming up fast is September 3rd. So if you are planning to graduate in December, first of all, congratulations. Secondly, you must apply for graduation by September 3rd, no later than September 3rd, or you will not be able to graduate in December. So you don't have to wait until September 3rd. Pause the video, go register or apply for graduation right now, and then come back to the video. And the rest of these you can read on your own. Here I have a link to the whole academic calendar if you want to see what's going on. All right, let's keep going. So this is a page that talks about the weekly forum discussion guidelines. So I've already talked about the information that's in the first paragraph, which is that discussions are very important to this class. But I do want to cover these bullet points. So initial posts are due no later than Wednesday, midnight of each week. And the reason that I have these due on Wednesday is so that you have the opportunity to reply to people and get all your work done before the weekend if that's how you're managing your schedule. I know everybody doesn't manage your schedule that way, but I want to make sure that you have the flexibility to manage your schedule the way that you want. So that's why Wednesday is the day to make your initial posts. A couple of things. So your initial post must be in paragraph form, addressing the questions or the issues or the prompts that I'm listing in the framework. The rule of thumb for posts is to strive for at least 5 meaningful sentences. And I know that for some of you that sounds like a lot, but it actually is going to be difficult for you to fully answer the questions or fully respond to the prompts in less than 5 sentences. So we're not counting sentences per se, but our expectation is that you should shoot for at least 5 meaningful sentences. I think that's all that we need to say about that. So moving down to responses to peers, your responses to your peers, at minimum of 2 peers, are due Sunday at midnight. And again, the point of these responses is to try to engage in a dialogue. It's not to give just a flat response, but to actually respond to what the other person was saying. And again, we want you to shoot for 5 meaningful sentences, 5 quality sentences. So quality of responses, I've already said that, quality, 5 minimum good sentences. But good discussion posts and responses demonstrate critical thought and genuine interest. So successful posts might also include opinions and tangential ideas by the topic, but it's not just going to be opinions. You're also going to be tying your initial posts and tying your responses to the material that you're reading that week. Grades and feedback codes are posted in Moodle, not in the gradebook, but grades are posted in the gradebook. Feedback codes are posted both in Moodle and in the gradebook. All right, let's keep going. So I provided 2 pages here to help you with your quality posts. So Bloom's taxonomy, some of you might be familiar with Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is a tool. It starts at the bottom of the pyramid with the least sophisticated thinking, and it moves up the pyramid, getting more and more sophisticated and robust in the thinking. So as you are making your initial posts, don't just aim for that bottom level. Don't just aim to recall the facts and the basic concepts and spit them back out in your post. Make a more interesting, a more thoughtful, a more engaging post. Consider working at the understand level where you are not just recalling but you're explaining, or consider working at the apply level where you not only discuss it, but then you take the extra step and say, here's how you've seen it applied, or how you think it could be applied. Or perhaps move up to the analyze phase. This is going to be particularly viable as we move forward in the semester, because you're going to be able to connect what you're learning in week 4 to what you've learned in the previous 3 weeks. You might want to work at the evaluation level, or you might want to work at the create level. So I give this to you just as a tool for you to help you remember that you want to be, that the best posts are posts that are higher on this pyramid, higher on Bloom's taxonomy. All right, so I have one more handout, and this is actually the RISE model, RISE, because it's reflect, inquire, suggest, elevate. And this is a model for providing feedback, but it's a model that aligns really well with Bloom's taxonomy. So this is something that's useful to think about as you are responding to the posts of your classmates. So again, you can still use Bloom's taxonomy, but I just think this is a useful way. So you'll see at the bottom of the pyramid is reflection. So when you are giving feedback or when you're responding to a post using reflection, again, it is the least sophisticated type of response that you can make, because you're basically just recalling information. If you move up a level to inquire, now you see that you're not only potentially recalling, but you're also asking questions, and you're inquiring, and you're trying to clarify perhaps what the person was saying in their initial post, or what one of your other classmates are saying in their responses. And same thing as you move up the pyramid to suggest and to elevate. So again, these are just tools that I'm providing to help you, to give you prompts to think about how you can have more robust, more high quality posts and responses. All right, let's keep going. So this is a page about learning teams and timing, and I'm going to let you read most of this on your own, but basically what it says is you're going to be in groups this semester, and sometimes it's helpful in groups to collaborate on things. There's a few times you're going to be required to collaborate, but you are welcome, for example, to review each other's assignments and give each other feedback before you hand them in for a grade, which is a smart idea to do that. So at some point you might want to think about what's the rhythm of your group in terms of some of these extra things, like providing feedback on each other's papers. And that's something that you just negotiate in your group. You have to get your initial posts done by Wednesday. You have to respond to the 2 people no later than Sunday. You have to turn your assignments in by Sunday or whatever day they're due. But other than that, how you work together as a team is just up to you as a team. All right, let's keep going. Here is the tentative course outline. And I say tentative course outline because as we get a little later in the semester, we might be moving things around a little bit. But here's how this is organized. You'll see the week number, you see the date the week begins on, the tentative key topics, the assignments that are due, and the chapters. So with this information, you can do things like read ahead or work ahead on assignments and know when things are due. So you can see, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you can see here we are this week getting started in understanding leadership, and you're reading chapter 1. Next week we're going to continue with understanding leadership, and we're actually going to continue discussing chapter 1. Week 3 is going to be a trait approach, and you'll be reading chapter 2. You get the idea. So I do want to just highlight when some assignments are due. So I mentioned that you have a leadership interview paper that is due. And so your leadership interview paper is due week 10. Week 5, you're going to turn in a leadership interview preparation form. And so there's a form, you'll see it in the assignments, and this is for you to fill out to really think ahead of time who it is that you want to interview, why do you want to interview them, what questions are you going to ask them, what's your invitation email or phone call going to be like, et cetera, et cetera. And then you're going to turn that in, and Julia and I are going to take a look at that and give you some feedback, particularly on your questions, to make sure that your interview goes as well as possible. So your leadership interview prep form is due week 5. Your leadership interview paper is due week 10, which means that you have like 4 or 5 weeks to actually schedule and conduct your interview. My recommendation is that you conduct your interview week 7, 8, or maybe 9, but certainly 7 or 8, so that you have at least a couple of weeks to write up your paper. I mentioned we are having a midterm, week 8, which is midterm week, and then your final paper and the bonus assignment video, if you choose to do it, is due the end of week 14. One thing you've probably noticed in your other classes this semester is that fall break falls pretty late this year. So we have fall break, one more week, which if it was a face-to-face week would be called closed week or dead week. And then we have week 17, which if it was a face-to-face class would be finals week. So after fall break, the semester's pretty much over. So that's why most of our assignments well, all of our assignments, semester assignments, are due before fall break. All right, let's keep going. So here are my expectations, and I mentioned earlier that we are week 1 doing an expectations assignment. This isn't just my class, so it's not up to me to figure out what everybody's expectation should be. It's up to all of us to create that together. So week 1, you're doing an exercise where you are contributing to our class document on expectations. So I have listed my expectations here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'm going to cover just the bolded part. So one of my expectations of you is that you will complete all assigned readings, activities, and assignments. Another expectation is that you will do it on time. Another expectation is that you're going to actively participate in the course. And again, your forum discussions and your weekly assignments are worth 44% of your grade. So you need to you need to actively participate if you're going to be successful in this class. Okay, let's keep going. One more expectation I have of you is that you will follow the guidelines of academic honesty, which we're going to talk about later. Now, it's also reasonable that you have expectations of me, and I put up 3 expectations that I think are reasonable for you to have of me. One is that I will be available for questions and guidance. Another is that I will grade assignments in a timely manner. My goal is to grade assignments in 1 week. I know with 40 people in this class, that's probably not going to be possible every week. So Julia and I will do the best that we can, but we ask for your flexibility as we try to grade 40 people in this class. And then another expectation for you to have of me, I think, that's reasonable is as much as possible that I tweak the course to address specific things that this group is interested in. We're not going to change the essence of the class, but every class is different and every group of students are interested in different content. So as much as possible, Julie and I will try to tweak it up in order to match the interests of the people that are in class. And then also there's a place in this exercise for you to contribute your expectations of yourself and your expectations of each other. So we'll do that assignment week 1, then we'll consolidate the information. I will consider it all very seriously, and the expectations that we can in fact implement, I'll go ahead and add to the syllabus. And the reason that I say the expectations that we can actually implement is someone might have as an expectation that there's no homework, no tests, and no discussion forums. That's not going to happen. So even if that's an expectation of yours, I'm afraid that expectation will not be met. But as much as possible, we're going to keep everybody's expectations in and add them to the syllabus so we know what it is we're committing to for each other. All right, let's keep going. Here's a policy for written material. So all written material, this includes papers and this includes forum posts, need to have these elements. They need to be organized and have a logical development. So in your forum posts, you need to make sense as you move from sentence to sentence and idea to idea. In your papers, you want to make sense that there's a nice flow within paragraphs, between paragraphs, and then between sections of your paper. You want, of course, to make sure that you have clarity so that the reader understands what it is you're saying. And one important way to do this is to not only describe what, but also to describe why that is, because adding that why really helps the clarity. You need to have correct grammar, punctuation, and spelling in your forum posts as well as in your papers. And then papers only will be formatted in APA style. So APA style only applies to papers. It doesn't apply to forum posts. So you will be using APA style. So if you're familiar with APA, great. If you're not familiar with APA, here it is kind of in a nutshell. So you'll have a cover page, you'll have 1-inch margins on all sides, it'll be double-spaced times Roman 12-point font. There will be page numbers in the upper right corner that will also be times Roman 12-point font. The first line of each paragraph will be indented, and there's no blank lines between paragraphs. Subheadings are not required, but I strongly encourage you to use them because they really help create a strong organizational structure in your paper. And then you will cite any sources in your paper properly according to APA, and then we'll have a reference list at the end of the paper. So for more information on APA, there's a fantastic website, the Purdue Online Writing Lab, which we refer to as the OWL, the OWL. So the Purdue OWL has a website that has almost all the APA formatting rules. If you have already taken OLP 4409, you probably also have an APA manual that you can refer to. If you don't find the APA information that you need in the Purdue OWL or in this handout, feel free to contact Julia or I, and we would be happy to help you. I also want to draw your attention to writing support. So ISU has a writing center, and they're available both for face-to-face here in Pocatello consultations, but they are also available at a distance. So I encourage you to take advantage of it. For some reason, people have it in their head that the Writing Center is only a remedial service, and that is not true. No matter how good of a writer you are, they can still give you feedback that will help you. It will help you in your content. It will help you, it will help you in your structure. It will help you with your APA formatting. What they can't help you with is leadership theory, because they don't know anything necessarily about leadership theory, but they can help you with the mechanics of writing and the organization of your paper. So I really, really encourage you to consider taking advantage of that. All right, let's move to late work. No late work will be accepted. All right, academic honesty. I'm gonna put 2 pages up so we can see it all. So academic honesty has 2 parts to it: plagiarism policy and original works policy. And you can read this at your leisure, but basically plagiarism policy says do not take credit for other people's work. So you can't cut and paste things from the internet. You can't type things verbatim from your textbook unless you cite them. Because when you cite them, then you're giving credit to the person who originally said it or wrote it, and then you are not plagiarizing, you are not taking credit for someone else's work. So just please make sure that you are citing anything that you take from anyone else. Original work policy says that you need to submit new fresh work for this class, that you cannot recycle work that came from another class. I don't think that's going to be an issue with this class. I don't think it's possible for you to use old work, but the original work policy says you will do new fresh work for this class. All right, let's move on to accommodations for students with disabilities. If you have a diagnosed disability that requires accommodation, please call the director of the ISU Center of Services for Disabilities, for students with disabilities. And here's the phone number. You will have a meeting with someone at Disability Services. They will determine the accommodation that you need. They'll send me a letter, and then I will know the accommodation that I need to provide. And then finally, here's a statement for veteran and active duty military students. So if you are a veteran or active duty, or a spouse or a dependent of veteran or active military duty, and there is something that is getting in the way of you fulfilling the requirements of the course, please let me know so that I can work with you. So for example, if you're in the National Guard and you have a Guard weekend coming up this semester, or multiple times each month this semester, let me know so that we can talk about the deadlines and make sure that you can both be successful in this class while also fulfilling your responsibilities to the Guard or whatever branch you're associated with. I also really encourage you, if you have not made contact yet with the Veteran Student Services Center at ISU, I encourage you to do that. If you are physically here, they're located on the 3rd floor of the Student Union, and I encourage you to go there. If you are not physically here, I encourage you to give them a call to see what services and options they have for students who are at a distance. It's a fantastic group, and I really encourage you to take advantage of it if you are a veteran or active duty military. All right, that is the end of the syllabus. If you have questions on any of this, please be sure to let Julia or I know. Otherwise, we will see you online.